Hey guys, Marissa here. I'm here to show you one of my favorite crafts to do during the springtime and during Easter. It's a really fun craft you can do with your family with not a lot of materials, a lot of the materials you might even have at your house already. So this craft might take you about 10 to 15 minutes depending on how good you are with a glue gun and dry time in between. So we are going to be making a really cute, fun craft today. They're little Easter mice. So I made this a really long time ago for Easter one time. I wanted to get fancy with it, so I actually made a white-footed mouse. But you can also get really creative with it too, and you don't have to get so scientific. This is another one I made. It just has fun pink colors, really cute for Easter as well. And then to add to your Easter basket, you can also decorate some other little pine cones just with some glue and glitter just to vamp up your Easter basket a little bit. This is a great thing to pass the time with, especially if you're home for Easter and just want something fun to do. Alright, so the materials that you're going to need to start out with is a fabric of any kind. So what I'm using today, I actually have part of an old dish towel that I will be using. But if you don't have any washcloths or dish towels that are old and you can't use them, if you have an old sock laying around, that's usually a good material too. I have an old dog toy here. The squeaker doesn't really work anymore. Felt, t-shirts, anything that just has some material that you like the fabric or the colors, those will work just fine. Next, you will need a good pair of scissors, something that can cut through your material. Again, if you are doing this, make sure your parents are with you, just in case you need to use the scissors. I'm also going to be using pine cones today, so if you are in your yard and you have any pine cones laying around, or maybe you have some for decoration, you can use those, or you can use things as simple as a toilet paper tube as well. The pine cone will just kind of give you more of a mouse shape to it, tapered at both ends, than the toilet paper tube will, but they'll still look good in the end. We are also going to need some googly eyes. If you don't have any googly eyes laying around the house, pom-poms will work, anything really. Those are just going to be used for its eyes. You're also going to need a black marker. I have a Sharpie here, but if you have any black markers laying around, we're going to actually be coloring in the googly eyes to make them dark all the way around to make it look more realistic. But if you want to just leave the googly eyes as they are, you can do that as well. We're going to be needing some string for the tail of our mouse here. Any string will work. Also, a napkin's a pretty good idea too if you need to clean up. We'll probably be coloring on our marker as well so we don't get marker on our table. For its whiskers, I'm actually going to be using, I have some fishing line laying around. If you don't, you can definitely use other materials. Floss could even work, or the ends of a broom if you really want whiskers on it. Twist ties, anything that really could resemble whiskers. I have glitter here, so if you did want to glitter your pine cones to add a little bit of sparkle to your Easter basket, you can do that too. I'm not going to be showing how to glitter pine cones today, but you're more than welcome to glitter up some pine cones if you have pine cones available for that. Also, you're going to be needing some glue sticks and a hot glue gun if you are going to be using hot glue. I find that hot glue is just the easiest to use for this craft just because we are using fabric. If you have any fabric glue laying around, you can use that as well, or just regular Elmer's glue if you have nothing else. If you will be using the hot glue, just make sure you have a parent available to help you with that because the hot glue can get really, really hot, and it's just good to have a parent around you just to put the hot glue on it and make sure everything goes smoothly. Awesome, so those are the majority, or all of the materials you need. Like I said, most of the stuff you can find around your house. So we are going to get started making our cute little Easter mouse now. I'm going to be starting with a pine cone here. I have different pine cones in my yard, but my one I like the best is this kind of like cylinder one. Kind of resembles the same shape I made with the one a while ago. But if you want your mouse a little more plump, you can use bigger ones, or if you want to make one of the tiny mice, you can use really tiny pine cones as well. So I have my pine cone. I already cut out some fabric here, but again, if you're using any of your fabric, go ahead and cut fabric that's about the size of your pine cone. It overlaps it just a little bit, just so you can wrap the whole entire thing, and it doesn't really show too much outside of it. So go ahead and cut that out. Since I already have mine cut out, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the hot glue now. I have the hot glue plugged in, so it's already nice and warm. So I can start putting my fabric on. What you're going to do is you're just going to kind of wrap up your pine cone like a little burrito, making sure that the middle part is covered from end to end. That's kind of the most important part. And then you're just going to put a dab of hot glue right there. Again, make sure you have a parent present with you, because this stuff can get pretty hot. I'm going to turn it, put some hot glue here. I might need another stick. Dab some hot glue down there. And then I'm going to bring up the other side to join it. Put some more hot glue down. Awesome. You might need just need to hold it a little bit just so it kind of adheres to the fabric. Perfect. So that's pretty good. Since this is the underside as well, you won't see it as much, so it doesn't need to be super pretty. But next, I have the end where the pine cone attached to the tree. That's going to be its tail part. So if you can see on my other one, its tail kind of comes off on that end, and that's where I attached the string. So for these, I'm just going to kind of tuck and wrap this around that little point. Kind of making sure all the fabric's tucked in. Again, these don't need to be super pretty, and then I'm going to put a dab of hot glue there and hold it just for a little bit, just so it adheres. Awesome, so it's coming together. So the next end of that is going to be where its face is going to be. This one kind of has a tapered end to it, so I'm going to try to mimic that as well. Again, this is a different fabric, so it might not look exactly how I did it last time, but I think it'll still turn out pretty good. So again, just kind of folding it around that one point and kind of dabbing some hot glue. And tucking it into itself. Awesome, so this is the basic outline of our mouse, our little Easter mouse. So now it's the fun part. We can start decorating it with all of its other features that make it a mouse. Awesome, so we're gonna set that aside, let that cool down a little bit and have everything adhere to it. We are actually going to start coloring its eyes. So if you are using the googly eyes, you're just going to go ahead and pick two that are about the same size. You can go really funny and pick really big ones, but I'll pick these ones that look a little proportional to it. I'm going to bring it over to my napkin and take one of my black markers. Again, if you want to leave it as the googly eyes, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to make mine look a little more realistic by just coloring them black. So if you've ever seen a mouse in real life before, they do have those little black beady eyes that look really cute when they're looking up at you. So I'm going to color them in. And we're going to do this now, so we give them time to dry. The marker dries a little bit on the eyes. Hands might get a little messy here, but that's just part of the fun. Perfect, so let's let those dry. We got our eyes going there, they look pretty good. So next, let's move on to the tail part of this. So I colored a little bit of the tail on this one, but I think for my new mouse, I'm going to leave it the dark brown color that I have. You can make your tail length any length you want it. I'm just gonna snip off a bit here with my scissors. It's a pretty good length. So we're gonna come back over to the mouse we have sitting over here, and again that pointy end where we had the pine cone attached to the tree, that's actually where I'm going to put the tip of the string. I kind of left a little bit of an opening, but if you didn't, you can just kind of hot glue it right to the end of that. So we're going to go ahead and get our glue again, put a little dab of glue there, grab your string, and be really careful with this because the hot glue is right there, so you can kind of have the fabric help you adhere it as well. Just give it a quick pinch. There you go, now your mouse has a little tail with it. We're going to set him back down. So next we have the ears here. For these ears, I actually used part of another pine cone. So I already took some off another pine cone here. Again, they can be any size. I'll show you what I'm talking about in 1 second. So I have another pine cone here. I kind of just took one of these and snapped it off and cut it to make a flat angle, so that's where it's going to be attached to the mouse. So you can go ahead and do that now. If you're not using a pine cone, you can also use cardboard. You can use another piece of the paper towel tube, anything like that. Another piece of your fabric you can use as well. But since I have a pine cone, I'm going to be using these. So back over to our hot glue. You're just going to try to imagine your little mouse's face right there. And kind of picture where the ears might sit. So again, they don't have to be perfect, but I'm just gonna pick 2 spots. I'm gonna put the hot glue directly on the body of the mouse and take your pine cone piece or whatever material you're using and set it right into the hot glue. Perfect, and I'm gonna do the same thing with his other ear. Awesome. Make sure they're sitting up nice and perky, just like a regular mouse ear would be. Awesome. So now our mouse has an ear, it has a tail. We're going to move back to its eyes. Its eyes should be dry by now if you did end up coloring them in. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of them. Again, with the like the ears, I'm going to just dab some glue directly on its body, about where I think its eyes might be. Take its eye and go ahead and stick it in. Do the same thing with the other eye. Don't need much glue, little glue will help this just stick right onto it. Depending on what type of material you're using, it might take a little or a little less glue. Awesome, so now my mouse has some eyes. All that's left really is its whiskers. And if you did want to add a little bit of a nose, you can take any of those pom-poms if you want. Or if you have any leftover fabric, you can go ahead and put a little nose on there. But I'm just going to go ahead and take my fishing wire here. And I'm just going to cut some of it off. And I'm going to make a little crosshatch with it. Perfect. So since these are really tiny, I'm going to also put a dab of hot glue right where its nose would be. And go ahead and stick those whiskers carefully right onto that. Awesome, so this is the basic part of your mouse. You can add any color to it if you want. On this one I also added little feet to it, but since this is kind of more on the ground, I think I'll leave the feet off that one for now. But this is basically how you make one of your Easter mice. You can go ahead and put it into your Easter basket. And have a nice little surprise for the Easter Bunny when he comes by and sees all the cute little critters in the Easter basket. Alright, well I had a lot of fun making this craft with you. Again, if you wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to your Easter basket, you can also glitter those pine cones with some Elmer's glue and just roll the pine cones around in it. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, safe, and happy Easter, and I'll see you again. Bye!